Welcome, it's Facts You Don't Know. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more, well, and first make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything.
The parents of Rabia Kamwal were sure that her marriage to a rich Chinese Muslim she had just met would give her a prosperous future, far from the struggles of their Pakistani lives. She had a premonition, though. "I was not excited," said Miss Kanwal, 22, who lives in a poor neighborhood in the eastern province of Punjab in the city of Gujranwala. "I thought there was going to be something evil." In Pakistan, arranged marriages are normal, but this one was unique. The groom, who said he was a wealthy poultry farmer, met Miss Kanwal's family on a tourist visa during her month-long stay. To interact with them, he had to use a Chinese Urdu translation app, but overall, he made a favorable impression. Miss Kanwal had gone ahead with the engagement, but in February, when she moved to China with her new husband, she said she was surprised by what she found. He was a poor peasant, not a rich man. Even worse, he wasn't a Muslim. Within days, she was back home and seeking a divorce with the support of the Pakistani embassy. Hers was, however, a pretty happy ending. Pakistan has been shaken in recent weeks by allegations that, under false pretenses, at least 150 women were taken to China as brides, not only lied to, but in some cases coerced into prostitution. Others said they were forced to work in bars and clubs, which in Pakistan's conservative Muslim culture is an inappropriate activity. At the same time, in China, Ms. Kanwal's story is not uncommon. According to the World Bank, China has one of the world's most highly skewed gender ratios, with 106.3 men for every 100 women as of 2017. That tilt is a result of almost 3 decades of strict implementation of the one-child policy of China and a preference for boys over girls, a combination that caused an untold number of forced abortions and infanticides among women. But only recently have the long-term human costs of this gender inequality come into view, and they have an impact far beyond the boundaries of China. As the boys of the one-child policy period have begun to reach marriage age, demand for foreign brides such as Miss Kanwal has increased, even as birth restrictions have been loosened by the Chinese government. The trafficking allegations are a troubling feature of China's increasing presence in Pakistan, a long-standing ally recently drawn closer by expanding economic relations, including the Belt and Road Infrastructure Project in China. More Chinese are coming as laborers and investors to Pakistan. Shops and other businesses have started catering directly to them in the capital, Islamabad. The Pakistani government cracked down on brokers who were reported to have arranged marriages, detained and charged at least 24 Chinese and Pakistani people with trafficking in human beings. The Chinese embassy denied the mistreatment in China of Pakistani brides. But last month, Human Rights Watch said that the reports of trafficking were disturbingly close to past trends, at which women were brought to China as brides and subjected to violence from other poor Asian countries, including North Korea, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. Growing evidence that Pakistani women and girls are at risk of sexual slavery should be taken seriously by both Pakistan and China. China's rights group chief, Sophie Richardson, wrote on its website, Pakistani investigators said men in China paid the brokers to arrange marriages with local women before the weddings were performed, living in rented houses in Pakistan. The men covered the expense of the ceremonies and, in some cases, contributed the equivalent of thousands of dollars to the women's families, investigators said. In Pakistan, none of this is illegal. The charges of trafficking in human beings derive from claims that women were coerced into prostitution or brought under false pretenses to China. In some cases, investigators claim forged documents were given to the men claiming they were Muslim. Other men pursued wives from the Christian community of Pakistan, many of whom, investigators said, are poor and subjected to discrimination. But nearly all women, Christians and Muslim alike, have been attracted to the dream of a better economic outlook. My parents said our neighbor's girl in China were happy, so I will be happy too, Ms. Conwall said. She said she met her husband at the Islamabad marriage broker's office, where many other Chinese men and Pakistani women were present. He told her family that he was Muslim, according to Ms. Conwall, and recited the first tenet of the Muslim faith, which every follower must know. There is no God but God, and his prophet is Muhammad. But Ms. Conwall never saw him pray, even when they visited Islamabad's famous Faisal Mosque. They traveled to Urumqi, the capital of the Xinjiang region in western China, in February after their wedding. They moved on to Henan province in central China after a brief stopover there. Then they arrived at Dongjiang village in Shandong province after a 4-hour drive past fields of wheat and maize, where she saw her husband's duck farm. It was not a rich man's sprawling enterprise that she had imagined, but a small family farm where he and his parents and 2 brothers lived. They weren't even Muslim, and all along he had faked it, she said. In their home, there weren't even proper washrooms. I got upset and began to weep. A different story is told by her husband, Zhang Shixin, 33. The boyish farmer admitted that he had traveled to Pakistan late last year and paid about $14,500 to a Chinese broker in the hope of taking a Pakistani bride home over a meal of cold-tossed pig liver and stir-fried tomato and egg near his family home in Dongjiang. It was his first visit to Pakistan, he said, and he was reminded of China in the 1980s and 90s by the suffering there. He said that when he first met Miss Conwall, he liked her, but he said he was upfront with her that he was not a true believer, though he had converted to Islam on paper. I told her that I was not a Muslim, said Mr. Zhang in an interview. He added that Miss Conwall had taught him the Muslim's faith's first precept. Afterwards, Miss Conwall insisted that she did not know that Mr. Zhang was not a Muslim, and denied that she had taught him the first concept. Mr. Zhang, previously a logistics warehouse worker in southern China, said he now earned around $2,900 a month for farming ducks, much more than the $180 or so that, according to China's National Bureau of Statistics, the average Chinese farmer made per month in 2018. The New York Times has been unable to check Mr. Zhang's income independently, but a Times reporter discovered a newly constructed housing compound with several bedrooms and polished tile floors on a recent visit to the Zhang family home. Outside the family home, the mother of Mr. Zhang, who is in her 60s, remembered being confused by the reactions of Miss Conwall. She's religious, so I went out of my way when she came here not to give her any pork, she said, as a tiny guard dog barked nearby. I've been stir-frying chicken and making her egg omelets, but she just refused to feed, no matter what I served her. The family locked her in a room for 2 days, Miss Conwall said, trying to compel her to stay. She managed to email the Pakistani embassy, whose workers linked her to the Chinese police, who took her away and made arrangements with the embassy for her return to Pakistan. Mr. Zhang denied the charge. In China, her stay lasted 8 days. She said that it was awful and beyond description. Miss Conwall said, I prayed for hours every day, asking God to take me safely back to my country, to my people. This month, at a family court in Gujranwala, she filed for divorce, alleging in her application that Mr. Zhang coerced her into immoral practices and that she would rather die than live with him. After the raids and the trafficking allegations were published by news outlets in Pakistan, the Chinese embassy there said it supported the government's efforts to fight crime, but it denied that Pakistani wives in China had been coerced into prostitution or that their organs had been extracted, claims that investigators said had not been substantiated in some Pakistani news stories. The local marriage agency that had been contacted by many local men in the Dongjiang region for help in seeking Pakistani wives was shut down around the same time that Miss Conwall returned to Pakistan. But there are still a number of Pakistani women in the town, according to Mr. Zhang and other villagers in Dongjiang. 2 Pakistani wives are said to be pregnant in a neighboring village. There are no girls here, said the mother of Mr. Zhang, when asked why so many local men went to Pakistan to find their wives. We haven't been able to have more kids, so they all wanted boys.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.